There's a certain momentum created by a strong habit that carries through every aspect of our lives, and that includes our financial lives. Once you've committed to a certain investing strategy, it's difficult to abandon it and change course. Now, precious metal investors are no different. The criteria is always personal, of course, but we all form habits and preferences. Whether that preference is for gold and silver bars and kilograms, silver Morgan dollars, or acquiring a variety as part of the investing strategy, there is always a pattern underpinning our choices. Humans are creatures of habit. The average person knows 15 recipes by heart, uses the same brand of toothpaste their entire lives, cheers for the same sports team, and almost never switches banks. We follow rituals and form communities around recurring events and frown on those who break with tradition. Which is why, when we see someone who we would think of as a traditional precious metals investor, someone buying gold or silver bullion in bulk, suddenly take an interest in rare vintage coins, we get curious. Why would an investor buying tens of thousands of dollars every month of gold and silver bullion suddenly get the urge to buy an expensive rare coin? Have they become numismatists or rare coin collectors instead of investors? No. They often go right back to buying bullion, with the occasional purchase of a rare coin. A break from tradition is unusual. If you ask a coin collector why they're investing in rare coins, they'll give a response that is perfectly logical, filled with truth, and yet untrue at the same time. Now, they might tell you that rare coins are a great investment due to the fact that the surviving population of vintage coins drops every year. Coins are lost or destroyed, and rarely are new caches found. They'll say certified vintage coins have an excellent return on investment, often surpassing bullion. And they'll say it's still made of gold or silver, so it's still safe, it's still a store value, and still a hedge. And all of this is true, but it's a hollow justification made to placate well-meaning busybodies and relatives at a Thanksgiving table. The real reason wealthy investors buy these coins might have a little to do with some of the investment potential. But we think the reason they're compelled to step outside their comfort zone is much more human. I'll tell you a story. A short story, don't worry. Every month I fly to the same city. I use the same airline, I stay in the same hotel, and on the first night in town I always go to the same place for dinner. It's a little joint that sells smoked buffalo wings and pizza by the slice. Nothing fancy, but I'm not looking for fancy after flying on a plane all day. Now, once I've checked into my hotel, I step through the revolving door and take a left, another left, a right, and then a left. It's always the same. Left, left, right, left. Left, left, right, left. Now, the last time I was in town, I followed my routine. I took the same flight, checked in at the same time at the same hotel. Then I stepped outside, took a left, and then stopped. There was a path I'd never noticed before that meandered between buildings lined with flagstones and planters. It's kind of urban garden that's become popular in recent years as cities attempt to become more tolerant of nature. This is where I should have turned right, but instead I turned left, stepped off an intensely flat sidewalk, and strode onto some uneven stone pavers. This path took me a little out of the way, but I got to learn a bit of local history as I walked. I saw some new architecture, and I met some new people. I had short, pleasant conversations, and I learned a little more about the city that I visit so often. And at the end, I still made it to my favorite little restaurant. Now imagine someone asking me, why'd you bother taking a left instead of a right? And isn't it obvious? I simply wanted to. I saw a slightly different path I could walk that was beautiful. I learned some history. I met new people who I'll probably never get to speak to again, but I can cherish the memory all the same. My life was slightly different and slightly more beautiful for just a few minutes. I got something extra out of it, and it barely cost me anything besides a little extra walking. Now let's reframe the question in the context of precious metals. Why do people deviate from the path they were following? Why buy rare coins instead of modern bullion? And the answer is that they're getting something extra that modern bullion isn't giving them. The art and the history on vintage coins is rare and exceptional by definition. They're not being produced anymore. In some cases, the technology that made them is no longer in use, or the governments who issued them have long since passed. In other cases, you simply don't know who held that coin before you, and it's exciting to hold a St. Gaudens gold double eagle knowing it could have been held by a titan of industry, a smuggler, or even a president. In some rare cases, we actually do know who held the coin, and those coins are often certified and sold for a hefty sum as part of a larger collection. When you buy rare vintage coins, you're getting the benefit of the story that comes with the coin, one that you get to hold in your hand instead of stare at through the panes of glass in a museum. Any pre-33 gold coin you buy will have survived the government confiscation in 1933, for example. Someone very much broke the law to hide these coins from the government, and what red-blooded American doesn't love the story of an underdog triumphing, even in small victories? And if you don't care for history, well, guess what? It's still gold. It's still silver. It's still an investment that's going to hold up over years and generations. Now, just as I made it to the same restaurant as I was intending to get to, a gold investor is still investing in gold when they buy rare coins, and it carries similar benefits. They're continuing to build their portfolio and advance their financial goals. They'll eventually arrive at the destination they were traveling to, even with this little detour. So, yes, it has some investment potential, and it's easy to justify that way. But the real reason people buy these coins is much more human. Someday it will be difficult beyond measure to acquire a pre-33 gold coin or silver from a collectible series. Thankfully, it's still possible to get these coins today and experience owning historical treasure for yourself.